What is up, team? Welcome to the Red Storm Rapid Reaction Podcast, a special episode. We're previewing our big game coming up against Indiana this Wednesday. All right, our first big test of the 2021 season. We head to Indiana to face off against the Hoosiers. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Rest in peace to the GOAT, Philip Seymour Hoffman. So Indiana, just like us, is 2-0 on the early part of the season. Their fans are pretty confident. They've looked pretty good so far. They're ranked right outside of the top 25. A win at Indiana would be a big chip we can put in our pocket, move forward, and be huge not only for team's momentum, but for perception of our team overall. All right, we got some more cupcakes lined up after this game before we face off against Kansas, a prohibitive title favorite. Really, I mean, they're a top 3 team in the country, as good as anybody, and that game is huge as well. But now we got Indiana. We can take care of that. It puts us in a great position with the rest of the out-of-conference slate. So what has Indiana done so far? They're 2-0. They beat Eastern Michigan in the first game. They won 60-62. They were up by as many as 20 points, I believe, at one point. The lead whittled away, but they were still able to get a decently comfortable win. Then they beat Northern Illinois 85-49. They were up pretty big for the whole part of this game. Indiana, just like us, has a lot of new pieces. They go about 10 deep, and I know they've had 2 games against weak competition, but it seems to me that those 10 guys they've played so far, major minutes, figure to be part of the rotation. I'm sure, they'll get cut down a little bit, but 10 guys figure to be serious contenders for minutes. And so far, they've all got around 20 minutes a game. So they're deep, just like us. They got 5 new players to the program this year, 4 transfers, and 1 big-time freshman out of those 10 guys. And they have a lot of moving parts. So it's not just us trying to get used to playing with new guys. Indiana is dealing with a lot of that too. So facing them earlier in the season, it's a double-edged sword. You'd like to think we'll get much better as the team plays together, but we're also playing against teams in that same predicament. All right, so hopefully we can take advantage against Indiana. So far, they're averaging 76.5 points per game. They're allowing 55.5 points. So stylistically, it's been a little different than what we've seen. We're scoring over 100 points a game through 2, and we know that's not going to sustain, but we really are looking to push pace. Indiana, they feed the ball in the post a lot more. So it's a little different style, and it will be interesting to see which style wins out Wednesday night. They have struggled from the free throw line, 70% so far. They were 12 for 20 against Eastern Michigan, and a much better 23 for 30 against Northern Illinois. 3-point shooting so far has been trouble for them, okay? 4 for 24 in one game, 8 for 23 in the second game. That's a total of 12 for 47 for 25% from 3 in 2 games. You don't think it's going to stay that low, but so far it seems like that may be one of their, struggling points. Their small forward, Miller Kopp, a transfer from Northwestern, is expected to be a big-time 3-point shooter for them. He hasn't really got going yet. And then Trey Galloway off the bench last year took 2 threes a game in 20 minutes as a freshman. He only shot 25% from 3, so I'm thinking they expect him to make those. But so far, they really haven't got going from 3, and we don't want to be the team that opens up the floodgates for them. Their best player, Trace Jackson Davis. He's a 6'9", 245 junior post player. Really solid inside. Doesn't shoot threes. He's only took 1 3 in his career, but he can really get the game going inside. Really smooth. Loves going to the left, starting on the right block and driving left to the middle to his strong hand. He's not the biggest or the most athletic kid. He's kind of in that Champagne athleticism mold where he's just a smooth athlete. He's a really quality athlete, just not a real, dynamite, explosive type athlete that will wow you with their athleticism, but gets the job done nonetheless. He's a really good player. He's going to be their focal point of their offense. They're going to get the ball to him. It's going to be interesting to see how we match up with him throughout the game. Next to him is Race Thompson. So they got Trace and Race. For goodness grace. He's a pretty good player. 6'8", 235 pounds, senior. He averaged 9 and 6 points last year. He reminds me a little bit of Bryce Enzi from Butler. You know, that mold, a little undersized for the 5, but big, strong kid. Definitely strong enough to play interior in college basketball. Not really someone whose size wows you, but he's strong, he's tough, can do little things can do a little bit of everything with the basketball. He's not really a 3-point shooter as well, but he's a good player. And those two are the only guys in their starting lineup that return from last year's team. So the other 3 guys that have started the first 2 games of the season are transfers coming into the program. That's Miller Kopp, who I said earlier, 6'7", 220, transfer from Northwestern. He averaged 13 points, 3.5 rebounds last year there, 40% from 3, but he's struggling so far. We'll see how he gets going. If he's guarding Champ, that's a tough matchup for him. If he's got a guard on him, though, if we use our typical lineup through the first 2 games to start, and he's got one of the 2 guards on him, he might be able to get good looks at the basket. So we'll see how that turns out. Interesting one to watch. Parker Stewart, he's a 6'5", 200-pound guard. Last year at Tennessee Martin, he averaged 19 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. So a big step up in competition level. So far, he's struggling, but he's a big guard. You know, looks tough from what I've seen. Those stats in the lower level are impressive. He did average 9 points his freshman season at Pittsburgh, so this is his 3rd different school already. 6'5", though, so if Smith is matched up against him earlier, you know, as the two guards to start the game, that's a size disadvantage for us. Smith may have, you know, the speed and quickness advantage, but it'd be interesting to see that as well. And their point guard, Xavier Johnson, 6'3", 200 pounds, really good athlete. He's also transferring from Pittsburgh. Last year at Pitt, he averaged 14 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists. Not a great 3-point shooter. He is 2 for 5 from 3 so far in 2 games this year. But he's someone who could beat you going to the rim. And he's a big-time athlete, some guy who looks like he'd, you know, fit in well on our team. You know, he could really get up and down the court. A little bit size advantage on Posh in terms of height, but I'm not too worried about that matchup. But it'll be interesting to see if we can speed him up, force him to make some rush decisions in the backcourt, and perhaps turn him over. So far, Indiana has had 11.5 turnovers a game through 2 games, so they're not throwing the ball away, but they also haven't seen pressure like they're going to see Wednesday night. Off the bench, like I said, they go about 10 deep. So far, these guys have all got minutes, and from what I've listened to, what I've read up on, most of them expect to be part of the rotation. Guy I like the most, Jordan Geronimo. All right, he's a sophomore out of New Jersey, 6'6", really athletic kid, kind of undersized power forward, strong athlete. He'd look good on our team as well. He can really get up and down the court. Physical athlete. I wouldn't be surprised if they turn to him to kind of keep up with our quickness and our pace. He's a guy who looks like he could thrive going up and down the court. Michael Durr, 7-foot center off the bench. He's a South Florida transfer. So they're 2 forwards. They start Trace Jackson Davis and Race Thompson. That's 6'9" and 6'8" respectively. It's not, you know, imposing size. It's quality size. But they do have a 7-footer off the bench who's a quality player. He averaged, I think, 8 points last year at USF. He's only played in one of the games so far. He had 10 minutes. He played in the second game. So I think he's healthy. I think he's, you know, looking to suit up against us and be part of the rotation. Guy we got to look out for. In the tapes, he moves around well. He's not just like a big throwaway guy. He's a athlete, 7 foot, can move around. I think he could be an issue for us if him and Soriano aren't on the court at the same time. Tamir Bates, he's their freshman this year, highly recruited, 6'5" lefty, perimeter scorer, big-time athlete. Another guy can get up and down the court. And Rob Fennessy, he's a senior point guard. He's been on Indiana for 4 years, kind of, you know, floor general type, averaged 7 points and 3 assists last year. Now he's coming off the bench. And last, Trey Galloway, who I mentioned before, 6'4" sophomore, 20 minutes a game last year. He took 2 threes a game, but was only making 25% of those. All right, so 10 guys. The depth, they have the depth to kind of get it down the court. Let's see if we can push the pace and force that tempo. I'm interested to see the starting lineup. If we start our starters, same as last week, The first two games, Soriano, Champagny at the 5 and the 4, with Mathis, Smith, and Posh 3-2-1. And they start the 5 they started in the first two games. Will have some interesting matchups. That would leave Mathis guarding Kopp at the 3. Kopp has a size advantage. I don't really worry about Mathis guarding him, but what I do worry about is Smith guarding Parker Stewart, the 6'5" guard I mentioned, who's a big guard. And that could be tough. That could lead to some issues, and that means that Champ will have to guard one of Thompson or Jackson Davis. And I don't think it's an issue of whether or not you can guard those guys. It's just fouls may happen. You don't really want to have Champ guarding one of those two interior players for 40 minutes, or close there to it. I think if you were to guard Miller Kopp, that's a much better matchup for him. Perimeter guy who can't get by Champ easily, will allow Champ to not get beat up inside, and hopefully avoid foul issues. So I would consider starting Aaron Wheeler in this game for a few reasons. One, it allows us to go bigger. I would take Smith out of the lineup. I'd go Champ, Mathis, Posh, Wheeler, and Soriano. So you got two Big Ten transfers in Wheeler and Mathis who have experience playing at Indiana. It allows us to match up size-wise a little bit better. It gets Champ off either their two front court players, lets Champ guard Kopp. It lets Wheeler and Soriano guard the two front court players. I would personally start Wheeler on Davis, give him that challenge. But I think he might be too strong for him, and I'd be ready to switch it away. I don't think that Soriano is going to be too slow. I just worry about the foul issues. If he attacks Soriano and Soriano gets too quick, then that's a big thing missing. If Wheeler picks up 2, I think we can kind of figure out a way to play without him, using Stanley, using NY. If Soriano picks up too quick, it's a big gap, So I'd rather not have him start up on Jackson Davis. I would start Wheeler. He's familiar with him. He's a senior. Accept the challenge and go from there. If we don't change up the starting lineup, then it'll be interesting to see what Indiana does, because they might have the size advantage, but can they handle the pressure in the backcourt? Can they get up and down with us? It's interesting. My 3 keys to the game. So get Champ going early. All right. Champ last year scored 12 plus points or more in every single game, but it seemed like some games it was all in one half, slow in another half. And I'm nitpicking, one of the best scorers in the country, but I think we got to make a concerted effort to get him going early. All right, with all the new pieces, guys who can make shots, we can't forget where our bread is buttered, and he's so willing to accept, letting the game come to him. Sometimes it's to the detriment, and I feel like he should really be the focal point of our offense early Wednesday night. If we can get him going early, it'll open up things for everybody else. So let's get Champ going early. That's key number 1. Key number 2, dictate the pace. Make this game our type of game. Up and down the court, okay, fast tempo, a lot of substitutions. Hopefully our bench, even though they have a deep bench as well, our bench can outplay their bench. And lastly, win the 3 game, all right? Like I said, so far they're only 25% from 3 on the year through 2 games. Don't let it be us. Don't let us be the team that gets Indiana going from 3. All right, that 25% is going to go up throughout the year. Is it going to go up a lot on Wednesday, or can we keep them down there? Can we keep them in the low 30s Wednesday night 3-point percentage? And ourselves, can we win that battle? If we win the 3-point battle on the road, I feel really good about our chances to win this game. Okay? I feel really good about our chances to win this game regardless. We got a lot of momentum. We're feeling good. Okay, confidence is sky high. We're healthy. We're hungry. We've got some guys who have experience playing at Indiana. I think that's huge. Okay, our stars are playing great, and I'm ready for a big time November win. A St. John's big November win. When's the last time that happened? Maybe, I don't know. These last 3 times we've beat Q, so any of those wins came in November. Maybe, but it's rare for St. John's to pick up a big November win, and I'm really, really ready for it. Really, really ready for it. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in to the Red Storm Rapid Reaction podcast. Please subscribe to the YouTube page, the Red Storm Rapid Reaction YouTube page. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Leave me a review. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Follow me on Twitter. Until next time, this has been Justin Burrell. I'm Pat Kane. Peace.